How's it gaming? I'm Phil in the Blanks, and welcome back to Let's Play Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Last episode, we saw that Missile has powers, which is a little weird.
How come out of every person that's died that we've helped out tonight, why is Missile the only other person to have powers? And why do I have powers? That's a little weird, don't you think? And so Camilla ended up in the hands of the kidnappers. We weren't able to change that part. Lynn listened to my story without saying anything. I'm sorry. I wish there was something else I could have done.
No, you did the best you could. I'm sure she's all right after all. After all, she has me.
Whoops. Missile?
Are you in there?
How do you know it's Missile? Do you know it's a dog talking?
Miss Lynn, leave Miss Camilla to me. I know I don't look like much right now, but I'm sure I can help her.
And Missile is easily the most important character in the... Oh gosh, no, hold on to that. No, Lynn, no!
Miss Lynn!
Bye, Missile. Well, Missile would have been amazingly important with his powers, but I guess there he goes.
I'm going to leave it up to Missile.
It kind of looks like Missile is being left up to the wind. He's so creepy looking.
I have something to give you. Stop the park from being turned into a housing site. Protect the park, the Rock of the Gods.
Aren't you forgetting your promise?
Oh, pardon me.
There we go.
My apologies. This is for you.
Oh. Dude, that just fits right in her pocket.
You kept the music box safe, didn't you? Thank you. Not at all. I was only doing what the Rock of the Gods would have wanted.
What's the matter? Your cat got your tongue?
He's mesmerized by my beauty.
Hey, the cat's not allowed to get your tongue.
Excuse me, but are you? No, it couldn't be. Have we met before? Aren't you that little girl from that time? I'll never forget it. It was 10 years ago in this park. 10 years ago? Are you talking about...
Nope. Trick time. Not really a big deal. You just, talk to... There we go.
Here in this park, the gods surely control fate. Today, 10 years from that day, we meet once again. If that isn't the power of the gods, then what else is it?
It could just be a coincidence, but apparently you know our lady detective there. Could you tell us about it? About what happened 10 years ago?
Yes, of course. I was actually just about to do that.
Rock of the Gods. What's this Rock of the Gods you keep mentioning?
Don't you know? It's right there in front of us.
Oh, there's Missile's body. I guess his body's just kind of there now, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Lynn will take care of that.
Missile.
I mean, at least we know Missile's technically okay.
Wait a minute. You say G-O-D-S, but do you mean D-O-G-S? Of course not. Don't be silly. This is no time for ridiculous word games. You are standing just above the Rock of the Gods now. Take a good look at that monument. Monument?
Rock of the Gods, Temsic Park.
The Rock of the Gods?
Oh, there's something underneath the ground.
The rock is buried in the ground right there. It's been there these 10 years. Ever since that day it flew down from the heavens and showed us a miracle.
A miracle?
So this rock you've been talking about is a meteorite? Precisely. It dropped from the sky on that day 10 years ago. Yes, of course. Surely you know all about it. Me?
10 years ago.
That day I just happened to be passing through the park. I had no idea that day would change my destiny. The sun was going down, and through the gloom, I heard the scream of a little girl.
Eek. Now just calm down and drop that weapon. Right, that's Jowd. Stay back. If you come any closer, I'll shoot her. We're finally getting kind of a glimpse of the shooter.
I peeked out fearfully from the bushes and saw some shadowy figures. I didn't see the face of the criminal clearly. I knew I should do something to help, but I couldn't move. The tension was so thick it was painful. Just when I couldn't stand it any longer, that's what had happened. The sky suddenly burned bluish white.
Shame it's monochrome here, that looked really cool. It actually, this looked so good. Very comic book. Look at that. Look, it looks so good.
When it crashed into the ground, the meteorite gave off a shower of beautiful fragments. And then I saw it. One of those beautiful fragments pierced into the criminal's back. The judgment of the gods was brought down on the park that day.
So Jowd didn't shoot the guy?
Huh. 10 years ago, the little girl that was you was saved by the Rock of the Gods. Oh my, I can't believe it. The Rock of the Gods was given the name Temsik, and still today, it lies sleeping deep in the park's earth.
Temsik.
I never knew about this Temsik. I always thought Detective Jowd was the one who saved me. You were very young then, and you passed out from the shock of being taken hostage. Of course you wouldn't remember.
That's funny. A huge incident like that should have caused quite a stir. It's strange you never heard of it, Lynn.
It is, isn't it? But now that I think about it, I remember I didn't want to think about what happened. I avoided the news, and I never came back to this park again. That's why I didn't know anything about it.
I mean, I guess that's an explanation.
The meteorite was named Temsik after the name of the park that it fell in, and then the Rock of the Gods was forgotten. Now an awful thing is happening. They're talking about turning the park into a housing site. I'll never forget the miracle I witnessed that day. And so I've taken up residence in this park, and I'm trying to appeal to the people. Protect the park, the Rock of the Gods. That's my mission.
I see. Well, at least we got some explanation from him. Other than that, I wouldn't have expected he had been a useful character.
I'm taking you with me, Missile.
So 10 years ago, the little girl that was Lynn wasn't aware of the meteorite. I get that. But Detective Jowd, on the other hand, there's no way he didn't know about this Temsik thing. And if he knew, and the man died, I took his life. What was that confession of his all about? The Rock of the Gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago changed the destiny of many people's lives, like the ripples on a pond when a pebble is dropped in. With every answer I get, I learn about a new mystery. Will I be able to break the chain of mysteries before dawn? Anyway, now that we have the evidence we need, we decided to meet up again in the minister's office. Besides, there are a few things I want to ask Detective Jowd. There's a music box in my gigantic friggin' pocket of holding.
We found the music box, Detective Jowd.
Good job, Lynn. I knew you would. Once everything had been resolved, I had wanted you to give this to him.
Him? You mean Inspector Cabanella, right?
I don't suppose he'll ever forgive me.
Detective Jowd.
Now then, let's get this thing open. There's a certain knack of doing it, you know. Just breaking it apart. See?
He calls that a knack?
It looks more like brute strength to me. Jeez, how'd the gun fit in there? Here you are. You should find scorch marks on the grip.
Scorch marks?
When Camilla built her contraption, she used a special kind of string. It's a kind of magicians use. It burns up in an instant, disappears.
Why would little Camilla use something like that?
I don't know. Maybe because she's a detective's daughter. Not leaving any evidence behind and all that. In the case report, there was mention of some scorch marks. Pap. When it happened, Camilla was watching from her hiding place. She saw the flame run to the gun, something she naturally didn't include in her design. I took the gun out of the frame and replaced it with a picture. If you remove the picture, you should find scorch marks behind it on the frame too, and those marks should match up with the ones on the gun.
In other words,
it proves the contraption existed there in that room that day.
And it didn't work the way your little girl intended, is that right?
Exactly. Some cowardly culprit modified the design. But that angle was never brought up in court. And so, as Justice Minister, I must call off the execution at this point. It would be amazing if there was an Ace Attorney episode where, you got to see, the court part of this, I guess. I don't know. It'd be neat.
I knew I was right. It wasn't Detective Jowd. Now we can finally prove that. Thank goodness.
Thank you, Lynn. In those eyes of yours, I see the eyes of that little girl from 10 years ago. It's like, I'm also here, guys. What's the matter?
I just don't know. What should I have done 5 years ago?
Back then, nobody had any way of knowing the true nature of the manipulator. It wasn't anybody's fault that we didn't know the truth. And by the way, it's pretty obvious that Missil's not the manipulator. Missil just died, so it's not him, even though that would have been really hilarious if the evil mastermind this whole time was the Pomeranian.
Do you really think so? Of course. Besides, what's important right now is deciding what to do next, am I right?
She's right, Mr. Minister. Yes, of course. I do believe she is. What is it now?
I just don't know. What should I do next? You'll figure it out. We believe in you.
And let's talk to Jowd. Jowdy. Sissel, if you hadn't come to my cell tonight, I would be gone by now, without ever having known any of this. This is what I deserve. That's what I told myself these past 5 years. But things are different now. Thanks to you, my eyes have finally been opened. Tonight, I've come into contact with a lot of people's lives and got involved in their fates. And the only reason I was doing it was to regain my own lost memory. But things are different now. We're connected to each other somehow. I just know it. That's why I need to ask you a few more questions in order to find the truth about us. Fair enough, fire away. The manipulator.
Sissel told me all about it, Detective Jowd. About the manipulator.
Yes, and it looks like this manipulator really did a number on the minister too. Arrgh! Please don't pick on the minister. If he dies again, I'm the one who has to save him. Ooh.
Sissel, do you think that's what happened to me too?
What are you talking about, Lynn? Don't tell me. You were manipulated too? I mean, it would make the most sense here.
There was always a part of me that just
couldn't believe it. The image of the one who shot me. But now I see that the possibility of a new explanation.
But who is it, and why did they do it?
That's a really good point. Camilla's contraption.
That contraption was a birthday surprise for Camilla's mother, wasn't it?
That's right.
Something's been bothering me about it. I feel like I know that device from somewhere.
No surprise there. You lost your life once tonight because of that machine.
Right? I knew it. See, Detective Jowd?
No, I'm afraid I don't see. I told Detective Jowd about it. Back in chapter 5. Told him about seeing the exact same contraption tonight in a completely different place. That's very strange indeed. A junkyard on the edge of town? I've never even heard of the place. What's more, I've never told a single soul about that contraption.
You haven't?
That old pigeon guy. Who in the world is he? Yeah, he looked, if we remember, we go back, it looked like the pigeon guy was trying to figure it out, but why would he have known about it? So, Temsik. Detective Jowd, you must have heard this name before. Temsik. The meteorite that fell in the park 10 years ago. You were there. So you found out about that, did you? All the things I could have told you 7 chapters ago that would have, helped out, but I didn't tell you for some reason. I hear that meteorite saved little Lynn's life. That's right. I couldn't do anything to help Lynn that day. But in that case, I don't get it. If it's true, doesn't it mean you didn't steal somebody's life away?
What are you talking about?
Detective Jowd, you told me that 10 years ago, the person who killed the perpetrator in the park was you.
What? But it was the meteorite.
I wasn't lying. I stole that man's life away. No question about it. It was entirely my fault. I was just about to shoot him. I would have shot him in the next instant if that meteorite hadn't come. At that point, I was already a murderer.
That's not true. You were trying to save me.
Lynn, I'm sorry, but I don't think that's really it.
Huh?
The truth about 10 years ago. On that day 10 years ago, a different incident happened in another place.
Another place?
Yes, in the police headquarters interrogation room. The worst sort of incident. A suspect who was being questioned escaped.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
I happened to be there in the detective division, so I joined the chase. Fortunately, or I guess unfortunately, I was able to track him down alone in the park. Hold it right there. I fired a warning shot. I wanted to catch him, bad. That warning shot made him panic. At the time, I was a young and green detective, brandishing my sense of justice like a sword. I made him panic and got you involved, Lynn. It was all my fault.
Detective Jowd.
All I could see was my target. I couldn't even see you. I'm so sorry, Lynn.
So the man who grabbed me died that day.
These last 10 years, I've never forgotten his face. And then a few years after that, when my wife Alma died in such a mysterious way, I thought it was fate, my punishment for what I'd done. It's cool, actually, you can see he had painted Minos in the background there. I painted pictures in my cell, nothing but portraits of people's faces. All the faces of the many people I'd met in my life I didn't want to forget. And tonight, I finished my last portrait, the final face I wanted to remember. The final face. The face of the man in the park that day.
Wait just 1 minute. That can't be. I saw that painting. I saw the face you painted tonight.
It's a good painter. Looks really good. Good memory.
It was my face. Are you telling me I was the man in the park that time?
That's right. That face of yours is the face I saw 10 years ago. The face of the man whose life I stole. The man who was pronounced dead at the scene.
But hold on, Detective Jowd. That can't be true. I just met Sissel for the first time tonight. And he died right in front of me.
By the way, the name that I know the man in the park that day by isn't Sissel.
I have a twin brother? What?
From the first minute I laid eyes on you tonight, I've been wondering, who in the world is this guy? More questions. So many questions. Mr. Minister.
Inspector Cabanella, where are you?
Just be quiet and listen. This is our demand.
What? Demand?
Our demand hasn't changed. The execution must be tonight. Once we've confirmed it's been carried out, we'll release the hostage.
What are you talking about, Inspector Cabanella? And you know it wasn't my daughter who was abducted.
Does it really matter who the hostage is? A life is a life. Even if it's the daughter of a death row prisoner. Once the criminal gets the punishment he deserves, the hostage will go free. Carry out the execution immediately and wait for our call. I've never seen Cabanella so serious like that. That's a shame, he's showing his true colors.
What is it, Mr. Minister? You look paler than ever.
What in the world? What's going on? Inspector Cabanella!
The rock of the gods that fell from the sky 10 years ago twisted the fates of many people and started a chain of tragic events. And even now, the chain continues to grow even longer. Inspector Cabanella's call proved that to us. And the greatest mystery of all has risen to the surface. Who is this me I've been chasing all night? Who am I? I'm even further from knowing that when I started, sorry.
Wow. What is going on? I'm Phil Blanks. See you next level. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to know when the next episode is up. If you want to support my channel, share some videos with some friends and consider supporting me on Patreon.